from the Oak Wall Studio in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hello, this is Jesse Oakley III, and welcome to the Oak Zone, where we provide positive words of wisdom for the happy people. Now, for the Oak Zone, I included something that's very special, and they're called Sunday Morning Chat Series. And these Sunday Morning Chat Series are to allow the happy people to be interviewed by yours truly, Jesse Oakley III. It doesn't matter if it's in Las Vegas, Reno, or all over the world. I get to interview the happy people that make a difference in the community. And for today, you're in for a real treat. I am here to introduce a person that's dynamic, energetic, and quite sparky in personality. As a matter of fact, if you look into the dictionary and encyclopedia and look up energy, dynamic, and sparkiness, you'll see three pictures of the same woman in both the encyclopedia and the dictionary. She is a great public speaker, and she's also a dynamic author. Please help me welcome Miss Linda Evans. Linda, how's it going?
I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
All right. So without any further delay, let's get started. My first question to you is, how long have you been an author?
Good question. Let's see, I started writing earlier. I became an author in 2008, 12 years ago. I'm going to show it to you, actually. It started out like this. It's just a booklet with a whole bunch of little tips in it. And that was actually my first piece of published work, was a booklet. And it's written specifically for mainstream English teachers, or actually any mainstream teachers who have English as a second language students in their classroom. So I wrote a whole bunch of tips. These are ones that I share all the time with people. I put it into a little booklet, and then at some point people would ask me, yeah, can you give me more explanation, more example, tell me more? Well, then the booklet became a book. That's what I did. I took all of those tips and then I would explain them, and I would give graphics or definitions or more tables, more examples and so forth. And that's my book. So the booklet actually came out 2008. It took me 4 more years to get up the gumption to write the actual book. And I'm so glad that I did. So it's been a few years now. Thanks, Jesse.
All right, that's always good to hear. Now, before you actually wrote the booklet, let alone the book, what really prompted you, inspired you to actually become an author?
You know, I'm not sure of the exact percentages, but I've read somewhere that fully 82% of Americans want to or say they should write a book, right? 82%. And yet less than 0.5% of those 82% actually write the book. And I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe I could make this work. More and more people would ask me, according to a tip, can you give me more examples? Can you tell me what that means? How can I use it in my science classroom? How can I use it in my geography classroom? So I give these examples. As soon as I got home, make notes. Oh yeah, that's a good way to explain it. And then all of those notes went into the book. And now I have a place where I can say, take a look at page 42. I think there's a tip there that might help you. It's very exciting to have a book now.
I bet it is. And there's always those times where you hear people say, man, you should write a book and you should own a restaurant. I remember my days when I was a young kid, my dad, rest his soul, and his brother were talking about, you know what, you should create your own restaurant or you should write your own book. And from that, when I was this high, I realized that, you know what, I will write my own book. And us being fellow authors together, once you actually have a goal that you accomplish, it is a true amazing feeling.
Yeah.
You feel good. Now, when it comes to being an author, what were some of the challenges that you faced in creating your first book?
Oh, Jesse, like every other author out there, would anybody read it? I mean, does anybody really care about this or not? The other thing is, when you have a knowledge, you have experience and so forth, at least for me or for my other fellow authors, we think, well, doesn't everybody know this already? Do I need to write this down? And so when you get together with other authors, and that, by the way, is a great community to join for any of your Oak Zone fans who are interested in becoming an author, meet other authors, talk to them, because authors are very open and caring and loving community of writers, because writing is such a solitary act. But then the published part and the sharing part, that's a community, and everyone helps one another. One of the pieces of advice I got from another writer was to get the self-publishing manual. It's by Dan Poynter. And by the way, Poynter is Poynter, Dan Poynter. It was a book called The Self-Publishing Manual. It took me through step by step on how to actually get it published. You get a book and, you know, it has a code on it and has an ISBN number and all. It has a spine, and like, how do you know how to do that? You know, the little nitty gritty of it. Dan Poynter's book. Dan, I don't even know him personally. He held my hand through that book. And I think the books that we create, we hold the hand of the people who they help. So get into some kind of authors group, meet other authors, join groups. If you have not seen or met or heard Jesse Oakley live, can I just pump you up right now for that? He will hire you. Yes.
Go for it.
I'm telling you, the Oak Zone is brilliant. It's really an honor to be here. And just to be talking to you, it's really great.
Thank you very much, Linda. Now, I had a great feeling when I wrote my book, Green's Happy People. I had this wonderful amazement of accomplishment that I actually accomplished a personal goal. When you wrote your first book or booklet, what was the first moment that you feel? What was that feeling that you got when you actually accomplished something of this magnitude?
It's what you're doing now, this kind of a, oh my God, yes! It's like that. From the tip of your toes to the top of your head, it's like electricity going through your body. When you first get your first book, even if it's just a proof, right? It's not even the whole box of them yet. It's just a proof. It's still exciting. I smell it. I feel it. I think, oh my God, it's real. It's really here. These are all my words. It's really thrilling. It's very exciting. And somehow people treat you just a little bit differently when they see that you have a book or you published a book or they actually hold it. Or, you know, it's really exciting is when they ask you to autograph your own book. That is a huge thrill, isn't it? I have your book, Happy People, and I've got it autographed by Jesse Oakley III. It's very exciting. And I get that thrill for myself, but also for every new author I meet. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you feel that too?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And especially autographing a book and people liking, it's just truly a dynamic, awesome feeling. And you're right. It does go from the top of your head down to the tip of your toes, that energy, that accomplishment. And it just makes you feel good all over. It's just truly awesome feeling. My goodness.
It's fun.
It certainly is. Now, my next question for you is, will you be writing any more books in the near future? What kind of books would you write for the future?
Absolutely, yes. You know what? It's a kind of addiction. I mean, you get hooked on the writing, but you get hooked on the actual publishing of an article to hold in your hand. It's really fun. I'll tell you about the next book I'm writing, but let me tell you about one I've already written. This one is called The Talking Centipede, El Cien Pies Hablador. This book came about because of Antonio Sacre, S-A-C-R-E, Sacre. You can find him online. He's a storyteller, professional storyteller. He took a joke that I have been telling for years, probably 100 years, years and years. He turned it into a story and he published a little book. And I got a hold of it and I'm looking at Antonio, this is my story, this is my joke. And he turned it into a book. So I thought, okay, let's take my second favorite joke, which is about the talking centipede, and turn it into a story, into a book. But because I love languages, I wanted it to be bilingual. So this one is written in English and in Spanish. But I told you it's a little addictive, you get hooked. So now I have this also in English and German. I have it in English and French, English and Portuguese, and now English and Arabic too. I can't wait to get those books back from the publisher. It's very exciting. Now that, yes?
Quel bon surprise, mademoiselle.
Ah, merci.
Je vous en prie.
It's really fun. The next books that I'm going to work on is actually historical fiction. And I'm writing it specifically for middle school kids, or sometimes we call them young adult novels. These are, again, very short, but I want them to be based on historical facts and the history of, I'm starting with Nevada. So I'll talk about different towns or the development of towns, the mining, maybe just how Kit Carson Trail started up here in Reno, Carson City, Lake Tahoe area. Maybe how did Paradise Territory get their name and where did that happen down in Las Vegas? So it'll be historical fiction explaining each one of those little historical facts. That's what I'm working on next.
That sounds extremely cool. I can't wait to get my hands on that book.
You know, you'll be the first one I call.
Oh my goodness. Make sure it's autographed too. Deal?
Yeah. Thank you. You got it. Deal.
All right. All right. Now, you and I belong to an organization that's developed for public speaking called Toastmasters International.
Yes.
Now, when you have a chance to write your first book and become an author, did you ever have to go through any type of speaking engagements? And what stories would you share with us about speaking engagements when it comes to writing your book?
Yes. Yes. There are a couple of things about speaking when you have a book. And I mean, whether it's just a little booklet, pamphlet, or if you have a whole published thick book, somehow it gives credibility to your words and to your speech. It's not just Linda saying, you know what you ought to do or what you ought to try. Now it gives you credibility to go with the training or the talk that you want to give. Also, since I talk mostly with teachers or other professionals, including project managers and so forth, this book can be applied in different ways. And sometimes the people who hire speakers, boy, I've got to go back to Toastmasters and get rid of these uhs, don't I? We work on those in Toastmasters. Anyway, there I go. When you use your book, sometimes they'll have an education budget where they can purchase a copy of your book for every one of your attendees, and just look at how many more people you can help with the information that you've culled together into one spot. And now they have a reference that they can go through. It's a great little key to go with your speaking engagements. And stick with Toastmasters. They'll help you get rid of most of those non-verbal tics that we develop.
Ain't that the truth? If you hear people that say you knows, wells, and so's, Toastmasters cure that 101%. Unbelievable. Now, the next question I have for you is there anyone that you would like to say hello to out there that's watching this video for making all of this journey possible?
Oh, gosh. Every author I've ever met, every author I've ever read about, every one of them have inspired me. Jesse Oakley III, he inspires me as well. And all of the wonderful, beautiful, happy people that you're going to be meeting on the Oak Zone as you continue with your talk show here. There is somebody I think of who really kind of drives me, especially with my next book. That's my grandson, Axel. Axel's 7 years old. And yes, he can read quite well. And when he doesn't know a word, he asks me, what does that mean? I get to explain it to him. There's nothing more exciting to see a little 7-year-old kid wanting to read and reading your own books that you've written. That's a big thrill too, to be able to say, yes, my grandmother or my abuelita wrote this book. He drives me. He's also, by the way, a great television announcer or motocross announcer. He's a big fan of Eli Tomac, which of course means I'm a big fan of Eli Tomac too. He's a motocross rider. He was number 3 in June. He just became number 1 in the world. Very exciting. And Axel is somebody who can be the announcer, tell me who's a rookie, who's on the Kawasaki team, where Eli Tomac is now in comparison to other he inspires me like crazy. So when I write for him.
Isn't it a blessing to have grandchildren?
Oh yeah, it's the best.
Oh my goodness, it's truly awesome. Now, another question I have for you is, what words of wisdom, mind you, we're talking to the happy people right here in this interview, because this is the Oak Zone, gosh darn it. What words of wisdom would you like to share with the happy people for making all of this possible?
Words of wisdom for the happy people. Keep tuning into the Oak Zone. Jesse Oakley III is your connection to intelligence. I'm telling you, this is true. You have the most open, honest, loving heart of anyone I know. And you reflect that in all of the friends and people you hang around with. So I'd say to the happy people, keep tuning into the Oak Zone. Listen to Jesse's people. He knows some really powerful and influential writers and authors as well. And along with that, I'd add in, my favorite quote comes from Einstein, by the way. Somewhere years ago, I read that he said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I keep that quote with me. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I mean that because sometimes in life you have detours. You got to go a different way. You think you're on this path. I don't mean just driving. I mean whatever path you're choosing. And something happens to upset that apple cart. Well, instead of seeing it as a detour and upset apple cart, change the way you look at it, and you'll see that that whole experience changes too. Einstein said that, and I watch you actually, Jesse, and you live that, whether you know it or not. But I see it in you, and I learn from you too. That's what I would say to all your happy people.
Oh, Linda, you're making me blush. You're just too much. And I got to thank you for taking time to actually be a part of this Oak Zone Sunday morning chat series interview. It has been a real pleasure getting a chance to interview you. Now, if you want to see more interviews, also listen to Words of Wisdom for the Happy People, all you have to do is go to YouTube, type in my name, Jesse Oakley III, hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and you will be aware of all the Words of Wisdom for the Happy People that I have to share with you. Until next time, happy people, this has been Jesse Oakley III speaking. Thank you very much, Linda Evans, for the interview. And I tell all of you, have a good day and take care, and goodbye.